special shout out to our sponsor, Qualia. Qualia is the category-creating digital closing platform used by thousands of lenders across the country to seamlessly work with their title and escrow partners. By working better together, Qualia is powering lenders to deliver a differentiated closing experience for their clients. Through real-time communications, closing status updates, and workflow management, Qualia brings lenders together with home buyers and sellers, title and escrow agents, and real estate agents for a secure and seamless closing experience. Qualia is proud to have been awarded the Housing Wire Tech 100 Award for real estate, as well as CB Insights FinTech 250 Award. Discover how you can work more efficiently with your title and escrow partners at qualia.com/innovators. That's QUALIA.com/innovators.
Greetings, everyone. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the Mortgage Innovators podcast, where we deliver fresh and hopefully fun and entertaining insights on all things mortgage and innovation that's propelling our industry forward. I'm Margaret Chiavini, and I am with NewRez correspondent, lending, and every Tuesday you can find our rotating group of co-hosts, or what our producers have dubbed the Innovative Five. We all share our own unique connection to the industry. And today we're going to talk about the power of innovation and connectivity. And Michael is the perfect one to have this conversation. Michael is responsible for the tech stack for one of the most well-regarded mortgage companies in the industry. So Michael, as usual, I love talking to you about, gosh, nearly every topic, but today we're really going to talk about the innovations that have happened in the last 2 to 3 years that really, from your point of view, have changed the home buying process. Mm-hmm. So, just sort of talking about that, what's changed, what would be your top 3 list?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of things, right? And it's almost starting with, how much of it is brand new things that were just developed in the last 2 to 3 years, or how much is it really the behavior and adoption that's been, picking up over the last couple of years? Because some of these great, tools and vendors out there, like Qualia, who we're going to talk more about a little bit later, have been out there for some time. And it's now that, people get stressed or people get in these environments where you have to do things more digitally, that it's really seen that adoption increase. So, one of the newer things that I think has been there a little bit, but has really come really more front and center over the last couple of years is around, the e-closing side of things, where, we have the conversations before, but, you're sitting in front of your title and escrow agent for, an hour and a half. And, now you're able to do that in the, comfort of your home. You're able to e-sign documents, even, on your phone. And, now you're just going into, title and escrow just to get the things notarized, or in certain states, you've got the full remote online notary aspect where you're doing everything digitally. So I think that that's something that's really, picked up over the last couple of years. And I think as we head into 2022, and I think I said it last week as well, but I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that continues to evolve as the legislation and the regulators catch up with the technology that's actually already been there. So that's one thing. What do you think on that one?
Well, I love what you said, and don't you think it's interesting? So we've always had the vision of the e-mortgage or the e-closing for a long time. And then, of course, we know COVID hit in 2020, and that was, you say now you can do the closing in the comfort of your own home. Well, there was a time where we couldn't even leave our homes. So for me, I love reflecting on the notion of, that there's technology out there. We may not see the application, and then something's going to happen in our industry where we absolutely need it. And I love how you made the distinction between what's brand new technology or change that's happened, and then what are the behaviors. In other words, you had it there the whole time, but maybe in the last 2 to 3 years you incorporated it. I think of, for example, like CRMs. they've been around for a long, long time. And it only has really been in the last, few years that many of the lending community has adopted that. And I know, you were talking a little bit about that when we visited before the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another one that's going to be that's really expanded over the last couple of years is really the application, the 1003 process, and really acquiescing to the borrower's preference. Historically, however we originate is how we originate for each one of our clients, right? If I, always am asking for bank statements, I ask everybody to, securely upload me their bank statements. But now that we've moved into this environment over the last few years, a lot of people, myself included, I don't have a printer at home. So if I'm not at work or, whatever, and you need documents from me and I have to print them and bring them to you, like I can't do that from the comfort of my own house, like you talked about. So I think now we've got that technology out there where, we can order VOAs directly through, the system. We can empower our clients to do that as they're completing the 1003 with some of the point of sale software that's out there. And for those that aren't comfortable doing it digitally and want to send it to us, we still have that ability for them to do it as well. So I think we've really entered in over the last couple of years this environment of having the technology that supports the borrower's preference. And I think that that's been a huge, whether it's from VOIEs, VOAs, all those types of things where, some systems allow the borrower to run their own credit up front. So, and again, loan officers and lenders can control a lot of that and choose what they're comfortable, showing the borrower or allowing the borrower to do through there, but having that technology that allows itself to kind of acquiesce to somebody's personal preference, I think is a huge game changer where, we've been kind of playing catch up before the last couple of years.
Totally. And you know what? I love what you said about borrower preference. I think that really is an important, we've talked about this a lot, meeting the borrower where they are. Some want high touch, some want no touch. Just, I want everything electronic. And that's going to be a competitive advantage. An organization's ability to be able to have technology and processes and to have a culture of innovation that allows them to help the borrower and meet them wherever they are. I think that's so important. Michael, one of the other things you were talking about that I think is very worth us discussing here is the alert software.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of movement in the last 2 to 3 years on alert software. Will you give us just a little bit of insight on, first of all, what does that mean? And then, how does it make us more efficient, more competitive, all that?
Yeah, I think, and it ties into some of the stuff that we were talking about with the CRM, right? But it's like, I think it's getting past just a stage of, what to send the borrowers or your clients. And also it ties into when is the best time to get in front of them. If I'm sending the same thing to the same person, every Tuesday of every month, I'm going to be missing a lot of opportunities because I don't know that that's actually the right time to get in front of them. So with some of the technology that we have out there now, whether it's, alert management, things where if a borrower pulls credit with another lender, or if they pull, if maybe they were below a certain credit criteria and now they've went past that. And now, they might qualify for additional loan options that they didn't have access to before because of certain guidelines. There's those alert monitoring platforms out there that now allow us to get notified when a borrower can potentially benefit from our services, whereas before it was kind of a shot in the dark. And an example I'll use is like a credit improvement campaign, right? A lot of times it's, maybe somebody applies for a loan, they don't qualify at the time, so you put them on a credit improvement campaign. And so now every couple of weeks for the next year, you're going to send them an email with tips and tricks of how they can improve their credit, in hopes that once their credit's improved, A, they know about it, and B, they remember to reach out to you.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hopes and prayers to kind of wait in putting it all in the borrower's, court versus, a system like a sales boomerang. I can get notified when they hit that credit criteria. They've hit that 620 score. Now, I can have the system reach out on my behalf or start sending them stuff. And then I can get an alert so that I pick up the phone, call them, congratulate them, acknowledge the hard work that they've been doing, on improving that credit, and then now offer them the services that they were ultimately looking for, before. Those are the ways that I think that technology has kind of shifted, where again, it's what's the right time to reach out to them. And it's not just from those types of things. There's services out there where, based on certain shopping activity, if they're going to certain websites, they're going and looking for, mortgage related inquiries out there. You can get some of those notifications so that you're protecting your clients that you've already established and, put all that work in on, and then you're hitting them at the time that that they're looking for something.
I love that. And, Michael, all of the stuff that you're talking about with the technologies that are available and the companies that are really helping us be efficient, those are the companies that are going to be at the Mortgage Innovators Conference in 2022. So I think our listeners know this, but we are having our conference live. It's going to be in person. It will be May 2nd to the 4th, 2022. It's going to be at the gorgeous Hilton Anaheim, and we have fantastic sponsorship opportunities that are now available. Our listeners can go to mortgageinnovators.com/conference, and they can see all of the things that potentially are available. We're going to have these wonderful companies and these kinds of conversations that Michael's talking about. So Michael, I really appreciate that conversation. And speaking of our Mortgage Innovators Conference, there's also another conference that's happening next year that's very exciting. And we're actually now going to talk with Qualia. Our listeners know that Qualia is our sponsor for this podcast. And every month we get to have a great conversation with them, find out what they're doing. And now Matt is going to join us from Qualia. And Qualia is sponsoring a conference next year, and it is the Future of Real Estate Summit, or FORRES, right? Matt, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, we're having the Future of Real Estate Summit, FORRES 22. This year is coming around about a month before the Mortgage Innovators Conference, so pretty excited. It'll be back live. We had our first event back in 2020, just snuck it in right before the pandemic, which was great, over in Austin at a fantastic venue. We'll be back in person this year at Austin City Limits, which is just that iconic venue down in Austin, attached to the W Hotel, from April 4th through 6th, 2022. So really looking forward to it.
That's fantastic. So tell us, why would someone want to attend that? What are they going to get out of that conference, and why is it really going to be a special and important one to go for next year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a different summit than most of the conferences out there. For FORRES, what we do is we bring together technology experts, economists, and the end users, right? The professionals that are actually creating that home buyer experience in that journey, right? So as you and Michael were talking about earlier, there's so many different moving pieces to this puzzle, right? How do you actually create that experience? Not just from getting to understand who's in the market to buy, but then that last mile, right? You talk to any lender and they're gonna share with you that data that, you get that last mile. If you don't crush that experience, you are losing out on new business in the future, because that's what people are going to remember, right? And so a platform like Qualia really creates that connectivity, really sits as that central node between mortgage lending, brokerage, and the closing experience. And so at FORRES, what we do is we bring everyone together, have those conversations. And so this year, pretty excited, our theme is actually connectivity. Last year was real estate is local, which I'm sure everyone can relate to as well. So this year we've been hearing these conversations around, hey, look, there is so much innovation going on, but there's an adoption issue, or hey, my partners aren't using the technology the right way, right? So it doesn't matter how much tech is there, if your partners aren't in that with you, it doesn't matter, right? And so what we're doing is this year, day one, called Collaborate, right? We're bringing around roundtables and having conversations between partners of what do you need from us? What are we doing well? What aren't we doing well? It's also a great networking session. Day 2 is Innovate. That's where you have those classic sort of main stage. We're using the entire theater, really excited about it. And you'll hear about what's coming up, everything from new technology innovations, things to be thinking about with respect to security implications and user experience, right? And then the last day is Operate, right? And so we go from being really, theoretical pie in the sky to really in the weeds. All right, now that you know what's going on, right? Well, what exactly, how do you bring that and have that actionable workflow with you? And so it's title and escrow, prop tech, and of course, a really big sort of growing mortgage lender audience who's coming on in and really seeing about how those tools you can implement day to day.
That's so great. And we all know that there's a lot of things changing in our industry that's going to put pressure on the mortgage lenders. And this is the time to be thinking about, to your point, connectivity, innovation. How are you going to be more efficient? And how are you going to create a structure so that you can get more done really with less by using the power of the technology that's available? And Michael had made a great point in our conversation earlier, and that is sometimes it's just understanding, start using it. It's there, start to use it. So,
Yeah.
Matt, that is awesome. Where can people go to get more information about this neat summit that you're putting on?
Yeah, of course. They can just simply go to qualia.com/force22. So that's QUALIA.com/FORES22.
Wow, that's so great. Well, Matt, thank you so much. We appreciate Qualia. We not only appreciate the fact that you sponsor this podcast, but also appreciate the amazing things that you do in the marketplace and how helpful you are with this overall goal of gaining more efficiency and for companies creating a competitive advantage. So thank you for joining us today. And Michael, of course, thank you. It's just always a pleasure to talk with you. And to our listeners, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, please make sure to subscribe to the Mortgage Innovators YouTube or wherever you podcast. Until next time.